Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Singapore Sevens. This one, a fifth place semi-final taking place between Great Britain and New Zealand. So the winner of this contest, they'll go on to face Uruguay, who have just beaten the Irish by quite a comfortable margin. Looking through at the starting lineups, first of all, for GB, it is Will Homer, Morgan Williams, Luke Mason, Tom Williams, Freddie Roddick, Charlton Kerr and Harry Glover, who looked like he might have had a bit of an injury yesterday, but has powered through. Also got himself a red card, so he's had quite the eventful start to the Sevens. And then alongside that for New Zealand, it is Cody Vai, Sophie Marker, Rob Rush, Sione Molia, Dylan Collier, Brady Rush, and Andrew Newstub. So both of these sides rotating their teams quite a bit here. New Zealand are wearing the white kit for this contest, and head-to-head with Team GB. So Great Britain pretty unlucky to miss out on the next stage of this competition. They were able to beat South Africa comfortably in their first game, having a narrow loss to Argentina in their second, and due to the head-to-head result, it meant that the Argentines did advance. We have got hello from Charles. Welcome in, mate. We are doing well. For New Zealand, they were able to get themselves a good win over the USA, but then went on to lose by quite a substantial margin up against the Fijians. Nice shoot, hey? Says Charles in there. Yeah, it's actually a little bit similar to the try emoji that we've got on the channel in terms of the fact that it's got a whole heap of them stacked up. That was a very hard blow of the whistle from Peter Martin to get us underway for this match. Great Britain kicking off from left to right for a spot up against Uruguay in the fifth place final. These two sides, there's going to be an accidental offside there from New Zealand, which does mean Great Britain will have themselves the early scrum in this matchup. Now, GB up against a six-man Springbok Sevens side did extremely well. They were able to find the gaps up against New Zealand's defence. I do still feel like there are gaps there, definitely after what we saw up against the Fijians. Whether or not these guys like a Will Homer, like a Charlton Kerr, can find their way through. We have got their Kiwi Lads Entertainment. Will you all post something today? Not sure whether or not George has a video lined up. That's going to be a great run on the outside here for GB, and they will score the first try. Pure pace on the outside. Managed to outrun Cody Vai there. And Luke Mason gets himself the first try of this contest. Now, are you Hamish? Many weeks or been busy in Mount Isa. And good to be here, Hamish. It is great to have you back again. It's been a bit of a hectic time, not just in the rugby world, but of course outside of it as well. So hopefully you've been keeping well. Yesterday made me mad, says Highlanders. I assume that's because they lost by 8. Didn't quite get themselves the bonus point, unfortunately, up against the Force. That kick has missed away to the side. That means that the score is 5-0 in favour of Great Britain, but a great start to this matchup. Kicking this one off, and it goes out on the full. And tuning in from Brisbane, mate, how's it, says James Martin. Welcome in. We are, of course, going to be covering Australia's match later on tonight up against the South Africans. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Says Highlanders. So the question I have, Highlanders will win Super Rugby 2025, as you are called at the moment. At what point does that name change? Is it going to become Highlanders might win Super Rugby 2025 if they have another loss under their belt? Or is it staying as will win all throughout the year? Sione Molia. Now passing off to the side, Brady Rush goes to Rob Rush, who will only be about 20 metres short. In fact, he's going to just drive all the way over. He might just about have been held up. So will be now the scrum feed for New Zealand, 5 metres out from the line. Never, says Islanders. In fact, the referee is going to have a check of this one. They're checking it with the TMO. See whether or not there was a grounding for Rob Rush. He got very close. Highlanders will get the wooden spoon. Yeah, I think it will be a little while till you get it changed. So that is sensational defence there from Great Britain. I think Freddie Roddick has got in underneath there and just stopped any chance of that ball going down. Yeah, that is tremendous work from GB. Whereas Kiwi Rob, says James Martin. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen him today as of yet, but I assume he won't be too far away. Be able to tell us about his Blues win. Yesterday was hella crazy. That Fiji smashed us 36 points to 5. Yeah, it was pretty surprising, to be honest, in terms of the massive margin. Normally those two sides separated by 10 points at maximum. But, yeah, just a whole different level for the Fijians. I just hope that they can continue playing that way for their semi-final, taking place in only about 2 hours' time. Like, it would be a shame for them to have done all that hard work in the group stage just to let it slip away in the semi-finals. And let's go GB, says Blues Nate, an absolutely gamish, very busy month. Says JD. Now going off to the right-hand side, New Zealand only 5 metres out. They will pass it out wide, and Brady Rush scores. It seemed a little bit too easy for them. No one out on the wing. Kiwi Rob, lad from Christchurch. He is from Auckland, I believe, if I am correct. I'll try reverse tactics that GB will win. Come on, New Zealand, says Moa Hunters. You see, there was a while there for the sevens when I was doing preview videos. Whoever I thought was going to win wouldn't. And it happened like 10 games in a row that I actually seemed to have a bit of a commentator's curse on sides. How if I backed a side to win a game in a preview, they would never win. So it got to the point how people were saying I should start backing the opposite team. Should make Kiwi Rob the mod of the channel. That would be very risky. Definitely because I think with some of the other moderators, he's been close to getting timed out like probably 15 times on the channel. As this your second account is Kiwi Rob. See his Blues, Nate. Now, hasn't gone the 10 metres, which does mean GB will have themselves another tap and go from the halfway line. Will Homer goes to the left-hand side. Nice sell of the dummy. So they moved only about 35 metres out. Going short side, trying to break through. Almost a chance to get the turnover for Sione Molia, but just can't quite bring it in. Now short flare pass from GB. Passing looking sensational there, and Williams will get over the line. Does score the try. Morgan Williams, that is. There are, of course, 2 Williams in the starting lineup, Morgan and Tom, but this time Morgan gets his first try of the Singapore Sevens, his 63rd of his career, and Great Britain were just looking very strong with those offloads, keeping the ball alive in New Zealand. Their scramble defence got caught out. Kiwi Rob needs to start up his own YouTube channel. Says Blues Nate. And Martin up to nice match. Says Charles. The kick does go over as well, now making the score 12 points to 5. Not a huge amount of time remaining in this first half for New Zealand to be able to get back into it. But then saying that second half, 7 minutes, it's plenty of time in a match of sevens. And like they've said, for both sides, they just need to kick at the 10 metres. There's been a bit of a struggle with that throughout the last little while in terms of getting it the distance required. So Great Britain send it long, as it is the much safer option. Now, Sione Molia gets it off to Cody Vai, who gets through one. Another offload goes back to Molia. Seemed like it was a little bit of slow motion there. And who was better than Will Young, to be honest? Oh, nice run forward. Andrew Newstub through. And it will be another try for Great Britain, just leaving a little bit too much space for the New Zealanders to be able to work with. It's led to Newstub getting his first try of the Singapore Sevens as well. Quite a few of these guys ticking off the first try today. Whoever does win this match, they will be going head-to-head with Uruguay in the 5th place playoff match. Andrew Newstub showing some good pace there. And we're unable to catch him. This match is going to be like England dominating and New Zealand dominating. Then England find a way, says Charles. Yeah, it seems like, Great Britain, I think, have been pretty strong throughout this competition. And with those couple early results going well for them, they managed to avoid that bottom 4, which I think is definitely a massive improvement. I think last year they were fighting for their spot on the circuit, but managed to win their playoff game. Currently, they are ranked 8th. New Zealand are ranked 7th. And I don't believe Kenya can actually catch up with GB with how far they've made it. So the bottom 4 has been confirmed. Just depends on the order, and that will, of course, affect their groups. Will Homer. It looks like it is going to be a scrum now in favour of GB. New Zealand a little bit slow to get Brady Rush, or in fact it was Rob Rush over to the scrum. We have got there, who are you rooting for? You always look happy, says Charles. Honestly, I've gotten that used to calling that games down the middle that I don't really mind who wins as long as it's a good game. That's the main thing that I look for. From a neutral perspective, for someone to tune into this game would they enjoy it? And if it's a yes, then I'm always pretty happy about it. Same with the Union, same with cricket, same with pretty much anything really. Now Great Britain, they've still got the 2-point lead. They're going to run this one out from their own 22-metre line. A risky play from this part of the field, but they feel confident that they can score again. Nice quick hands coming from GB. Little bit of a rough pass, but picked up nicely by Harry Glover. On the ball in one hand, doesn't quite flick it away. Now off to the right-hand side again here for GB. Slowly working their way for great break and run. Huge fend. He will be chased down though. Goes for the crubber across field. New Zealand dive on it with Sione Molia. And the ball is there for the Kiwis. Maybe will they kick it into touch? No, it looks like they're going to go for the attack. They are down by 2. Sione Molia, ball knocked out of his hands. GB, look like they might have knocked it on too, but it is going to be back into the hands of Great Britain. Harry Glover thought about the offload, does decide to go after Will Homer. They'll shift it out wide. Charlton Kerr can't quite get that one away. Referee's going to say play on. Now 15 metres out from the line. Both sides looking extremely fatigued. That's a deliberate knockdown from New Zealand, and it will lead to a yellow card for Andrew Newstub. It was in the motion of tackling. He is disappointed, but New Zealand have to look at themselves again in the closing moments of a half and go, did we do this to ourselves? And the answer is yes, because they could have kicked it into touch. But instead now, Great Britain have a brilliant attacking chance once again. Only about 20 metres out from the line. Looks like they're going to go for the quick tap. Will Homer going back across to the right-hand side. Glover goes through and New Zealand shoot themselves in the foot. Or do they? TMO's going to be checking this one. Mate, you're an absolute legend. Controls his mental health, says JD. All right, they just want to make sure that this one was grounded by Harry Glover. Does he get it down? He certainly does. And they're going to be awarding the try. But now New Zealand, rather than being down by 2 going into the second half, they're down by 9. For an experienced side, they make a lot of rookie errors right near the end of a half. It's the same in their game up against the French. They decided to keep on playing at half-time. And then that was in the end what knocked them out of that last competition in Hong Kong. So, they won't be happy, but they're hurting themselves. But GB taking the advantage, going with it. And now for the next minute and a half, they are also going to have a man advantage. Thank you for the commentary, Hamish. Nice arvo for relaxing beer and barbecue, says JD. See, normally anytime the word barbecue is mentioned, it starts raining. So hopefully that's not the case here. She's a little bit overcast where I am, but wouldn't be a bad idea having a barbecue at some point. Second half of this contest is only just around the corner. For anyone wondering what our next game is that we are covering after this one, it will be the matchup between Kenya and Spain. That is happening at 6:30 p.m. New Zealand time, so in about an hour and 40 minutes time. And then the match after that will be Argentina versus Fiji, directly after that Kenya versus Spain match. And then after that one, I believe it will be 7:40 for Australia versus South Africa. And then nothing after that has quite been confirmed as of yet. We have got there, why the hell are they putting someone from Ireland in a GB game? Says Kiwi Rob. Who are we talking? Like a player? Kiwi Rob or the referee? No, Rain always hungry, says JD. They're just showing an ad for new windshield. Hopefully we don't need one of those anytime soon. The referee, says Kiwi Rob. I don't know whether you know this, Kiwi Rob, but the Irish and the Great British, there was a period, and I think even now for some people, where they didn't actually like each other very much. So Northern Ireland, I think, well, even, they're a whole separate situation going. So it makes perfect sense. Northern Ireland is the referee from Northern Ireland or is he from Ireland? Have you done your research, Kiwi Rob? That is the question. Peter Martin, let me know. Now, big break and run here from GB. And Namanaki Nicole covers the ground to get back. He's almost managed to drag him down 10 metres out from the line, and that will be another penalty going the way of New Zealand. One moment, we'll have to look it up now. Peter Martin, referee. He's 27 years. Wait, he's one of Ireland's rising stars in rugby. That must not be the same Peter Martin. I don't know if Wheatbix says Blues, Nate, but yeah, really nicely done by Amanaki Nicole to eventually get that tackle. It was going to be a hard chase. Doesn't matter. You shouldn't be allowed to referee a game with this importance. This game doesn't really matter, if we're being completely honest, in terms of the overall outcome. I feel like you're just trying to find something to whinge about, Kiwi Rob. Like, it's not that deep. Referees in sevens, just like the players, they'll play and referee for absolutely anyone. And the referee's done nothing wrong at this point. Hey, Hamish says Brandon game. Welcome in, Brandon. And it's going to be the scrum going the way of Great Britain here. 10 points to 19. New Zealand still have themselves the yellow card for Andrew Newstub and his deliberate knockdown, although he is now making his way back out onto the park. During that time in the sin bin, there was the one try that was from New Zealand's era of not kicking the ball into touch, instead allowed Great Britain to continue playing, and GB struck. Going off to the right-hand side now for Great Britain. Got the yellow card wrong. It was an extended arm from Andrew Newstub, though. And yes, even though he was going for the tackle, in the rulebook of sevens, you're not allowed to have that arm out in front. And half cut, mate, you noobs, says JD. Nice running forward. Now going off to the left-hand side. Nice bounce pass. Going off to Kerr. Passes one more, and it will be another try for Great Britain, as they will now lead by quite a big margin at throw it into him. That's what a pass is, Kiwi Rob. If you throw the ball, fun fact, it's a pass. And if you've got an extended hand, it's no different to a player jumping and tackling him in the air. Yes, you might do the initial action by yourself, but that player still has the responsibility to not go against the rulebook. Guess what? She is home. I'm not in good mood, says Brandon. Now going to be kicking this one. GB have missed away to the side. 24 points to 10. And Kershaw was the man who managed to score it. Still 4 minutes remaining. WTF says Sky City. Yeah, GB, don't get me wrong. Like, GB have had a good tournament. If you consider the fact that their only loss so far was up against Argentina by 7, in a game that at times it did look like they were going to win. They bet the blitz box by a massive margin in match number 1. And they're doing the same to New Zealand here. Like, GB might be peaking at the right time in terms of those important playoff games later on. It's just a good thing that they're outside of that bottom 4, because now they've got the chance at the championship. But now, 4 minutes still remaining on the clock. New Zealand will have themselves the scrum feed. Hey, let's go GB, says Blues Nate. Right, Newstub about to put the ball in here for New Zealand. And nicely claimed at the back for the Kiwis. They will be 22 metres out from their line. Passed off to the left-hand side for Maka, who sits down the Great British defence. New Zealand would need 2 converted tries in the next 3 minutes and not allow GB to score again if they want to make it to golden point. But the kicking so far for the Kiwis, they've missed their first 2 kicks at the posts. Newstub 40 metres out from New Zealand's line. Regan Ware backtracking a little bit. Goes across to Dylan Collier. New Zealand seem in absolutely no hurry whatsoever here. Don't know whether that's composure or a lack of intent from the Kiwis. They are still passing it back, and they've lost about 30 metres just in that play. Newstub now tackled by Will Homer. New Zealand 22 metres out from their line. I thought I was happy after Cop came. Says Brandon. Now going back across to the left-hand side. Tony Nashu tries to back his pace. Ball on the inside to Maka. And it will be the try for the Kiwis. He is charging as close to the try line, or at least to the post as he can. In fact, this time it was Vainuku who made his way through his first try in Singapore. Everyone's getting the debut try in this comp. This conversion is extremely crucial for the Kiwis. If it goes over, there is a chance of the draw still. I think either way, if New Zealand want to find a way of winning this contest, they will need the 3 tries. Of course, 2 from here with that one scored of Vainuku. Kick has gone away to the side. And that means 24 points to 15. My tactics didn't work. Oh well, thanks Hamish. Says Moa Hunters. And go Vainuku. Says Sky City in there too. But 1 minute 40 remaining. GB have to not concede 2 tries. New Zealand though, with the counter ruck, they pick the ball up. Naroi Makabi Black ball on the inside to Tony Nashu. He's going to make it slightly easier. Doesn't really need to though, because at the end of the day, New Zealand still need those tries, and they have got another one with Tony Nashu, who, guess what, gets his first try in Singapore. I think everyone who has scored for New Zealand, this is their first try. That's going to put New Zealand that little bit closer. 2 more tries easy. In fact, now that I think about it, if New Zealand get this conversion, they could win with a penalty. So maybe it was those crucial extra few meters. The referee actually in the way of that pass on the inside, but the kick has gone over. So New Zealand now 24 points to 22 with 68 seconds remaining. New Zealand will be kicking this one off. Back underway. One New Zealand women are better than men's New Zealand. Well, it's true, woman is better at sports than boy, says Brandon. Nicely taken by GB. 55 seconds remaining. Will Homer goes back across to the left-hand side. If Great Britain can score now, that would secure this game, I would think. But there's also a chance that if a penalty goes the way of New Zealand, that they still could come back to win this game. Now, throughout the last few legs, New Zealand have struggled to close out matches, but normally they're ahead when they go on to lose those games. Whereas in this one, they're behind. And they've still got a bit of ground to make up. Trying to get in the breakdown was Andrew Newstub, who has lost his footing. 25 seconds will feel like a long time to survive here for GB, so instead they have to start trying to move forward, which at least gives them a bit of a chance. Close to the touchline. 15 seconds remaining. Counter ruck coming from New Zealand, just about getting the ball, but it's still there for Great Britain, and that is perfect for them because that uses up extra time on the clock. 6 seconds left in this one, New Zealand. I'm surprised they didn't commit more men to that breakdown. Kicked into touch by GB, and they will win the match and play off for the 5th place as GB representing England. They're representing England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, all bundled into one. And they've just beaten the New Zealanders. Come on, Kiwi, says JD, and drop, says Ruslin. And yeah, no, or says Sky City. Yeah, very close for the Kiwis. A valiant comeback, but unfortunately, when you miss those kicks, they missed 3 of them. GB got given that game by a biased referee. They just didn't, though, did they? Does it get tiring, Kiwi Rob, always being right? So I could only imagine that you just feel exhausted 24/7. But yeah, New Zealand, the ref didn't make them miss 3 kicks. They could have won this game 28 points to 24. A good 7th tournament for GB, says Robert. And yes, they did, says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, they did miss 3 kicks. 6 points available from this contest. And New Zealand didn't get them, unfortunately. They had the chance to win the game. They blew it. GB were the better side. Plain and simple. They started the match better. New Zealand made a mistake near the halftime break. Nothing to do with the ref. They dropped the ball forward. Great Britain capitalised and scored the try. But that means now that New Zealand will be playing up against Ireland in their 7th place playoff game. That one is taking place at, I believe, 8:56 p.m. New Zealand time. And then the matchup after that will be the 5th place playoff. That is taking place between Great Britain and also Uruguay. But yeah, exciting game. Nonetheless, close one, which is always great to see. The 3rd place playoff games are taking place from 10:30 onwards. So I believe from 8 to 10:30, we got a little bit of a break. Thanks, Russell, for being here. But yeah, next match that we are covering will be happening at 6:30 p.m. New Zealand time, and that is the one between Kenya and the Spanish. But thank you all very much for tuning in. I will see you all for the next one.